Order, it is 5:30.
Can we without a quorum?
Oh, we need Leah.
Yeah.
Take that back, Jamie. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, David? Did you raise your hand?
No, I was just counting numbers.
No.
when-
Uno, dos, tres.
Hmm.
Sorry, folks.
Jamie, can you activate it from your cell phone? Yep. Wow.
Good call, Eric.
Can guys sit in on in place of a member?
Can what?
Can Sky sit in place of a
Yeah,
member?
why not?
We'll get a Brian. He's
Up
a
in the
town
chair.
employee. It's
Yeah.
Brian's like,
As
you're not
long as
putting
he
me
can
on
take
it.
the ethics exam, we're fine.
Speaking of which,
Do
you
we
pass
have any
your,
wigs?
Here's
Yes,
Leah.
yay. Hi, guys.
Hey, Leah.
Just in time. We're just about to start.
Let me
No,
You're not
yes,
worried.
you got an
Right.
We
agenda.
had an incident at school today, so I had to
Uh-oh.
put reports to.
There's an agenda right there
Yes,
underneath that
there.
sign.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. It's 5:30, Harwich Youth and Recreation Commission meeting. And as required by law, the town may audio or video record this meeting. Any person intending to either audio or video record this open session is required to inform the chair. Thank you. We did the recording notice, public announcements. Anybody here for public announcements? Okay, Park and Field Maintenance, Brian Albee. Please, you have the floor.
All right,
Or you can stay right there if you want.
I'll
It's
just sit here.
totally up to you.
it's gonna take too much effort for me to get up and press.
Go ahead.
I've been doing some research for bleachers for renovation over at White House. And I've got just a preliminary quote, which I will show you. Everybody gets a copy. Quote, that's my copy. And it gives a little bit about, on the front page, as you'll see too,
yeah, yep.
just so you guys, everybody gets a copy.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Brian.
Oh, yeah. Burned up the coffee machine the
I was
other
gonna
day.
say, aren't you efficient?
Well, I try to be.
Pretty good.
And if you scroll through this, you can basically, it'll show you the, do you care for a copy?
Yes, please, for reference.
It shows what it would cost to renovate the existing bleachers at White House. And recently, we had it inspected to know what we're up against. You can see in this, it'll give you like before and after pictures, so you
Yeah.
guys get a visual. I'm a visual kind of guy,
Yeah.
and as most people are, kind of give you what it would look like before and after. This is just one company that does it. This is probably the closest one that I found. Although, when we were at the field the other day,
Yeah,
that
last
other
week,
gentleman,
yeah.
I didn't know. So that could be two.
Yeah.
So, in the middle of that is a report, what it would cost to renovate it, which when I saw the price, I thought I was pleasantly surprised.
Is it the 135?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I was pleasantly surprised. That's leaving the existing structure as is, not touching it, just basically ripping all the wood out, everything goes to aluminum, so it's a one-shot deal. Well, because the frame and everything else below it is in good condition.
Is that per bleacher?
No, that's a whole
Oh,
back,
that's total,
that's
okay.
the whole enchilada.
Okay.
So far cry from the original
Yeah.
numbers that we were tossing up in the air and seeing if it sticks, so to speak.
Okay,
So, again, that's just the starting point.
Yep.
Currently, we've got some repair work to do to the bleachers to make them even safe for this year. 'Cause with wood and some other things, which I'm working on now. I don't know what you folks have for timetable, but I highly recommend putting this on the shorter of the lists, just because of compliance. And there is no grandfather. I did some digging. I did a lot of digging. Nothing is grandfathered in anymore.
Okay.
It's not.
I guess I'm not.
okay, hold on, Vic.
Yeah.
Let's let Brian finish up and then I'll go around the room, please.
If we don't alter the structure at all, okay, we do not have to make it ADA compliant, as long as there's room around the facility for an unobstructed view, which there is on either side of the press box. So that's a big ticket item, because I have another group here, which is a different alternative, which would be bringing some brand new bleachers. I have another one here, I'll show you in a minute. They're basically 4 bleachers, you put them, basically squish 2 together on either side. But because they're brand new, would have to be an ADA compliant. And those prices came in close to what you see here, minus an ADA ramp, the changes to it, the concrete work, which would push the budget over $100,000 more than what you'll see in these papers. So, still, I didn't think it was horrible, but I figured you guys want to digest that first before I threw
Yep.
something else at you.
Leah, I know you
Questions?
just got it, but any
Yeah, no,
questions?
that's okay. I just have a, quick question.
Sure.
What is it, let's just say for the sake of saying today, yep, okay, let's go do it. What is their time frame for turnaround for having it done, for having the job completed?
That's up to the company, I don't know.
Okay,
I honestly don't know. My guess is when I spoke to the gentleman on the phone, probably a couple of months lead time
okay.
would be my guess.
And I just have one more question.
Sure.
What's our current spending on upkeep for the bleachers, year, or just annually, if we have it around about?
It depends on the year to year. A few years ago, well, actually quite a few years ago, I have no idea what those counts
Oh,
cost.
they
I know
were a
they
lot.
I know they were
And
a
it was a
lot.
long time ago.
And we are replacing some plankings this year. Next year, probably 75% of it's gonna have to be all redone.
And price range on that, I'm just trying to figure
I
out.
honestly can't give you, because I don't know what the price of wood is these days.
Right.
That is not my expertise.
Can you get us that for the March meeting, please? Ballpark?
To redeck everything,
What are
Just-
you asking, Leah?
Annually, what are we spending to keep,
I'll
to upkeep
see if I
these?
can, I'll talk to Sean and see what I come up with. I don't know what he spent last year. I
It's
don't
different
know.
every year.
Right,
It varies greatly from year to
right,
year.
obviously depending on weather and whatnot, but my only question is, if we spend the 135, is that gonna be a long-term, okay, we're gonna save down the line every year on the upkeep, or are we spending such a minimal amount on upkeep that it's gonna work out under the 135? That's my
Good
only-
question.
That's really my only concern there.
No, I understand that, but at some point, the bleachers really need to be updated for nothing more than safety codes.
Right,
If you start getting into all of that, you're better off redoing them all. Because if you try to piece it together like anything else, it's gonna cost you 3 times more in the end than just to do it right. And now, with this company that I went with and a lot of other companies, just so everybody understands, these are aluminum, it's permanent, it's done. You should probably almost never have to do it again unless some of the lower structure fails, which is fine. It's my knowledge that it's still good, and that was put up in 1967.
Before my day, yeah.
Long time
And you
ago.
look at them and they look great.
Yeah, the structure's
The
fine.
underneath
The
part
base,
is amazing.
that's the trick, is if we cannot change the structure, it saves all kinds of problems.
that's good information,
Yep.
thank you.
So,
That's all I
any other questions?
Van?
Yeah, the 135, Brian, is that just for repairs,
That's to redo the whole thing.
Renovate.
That's with,
to renovate?
right, that does not
Take the existing and renovate?
renovate.
Okay,
That, one thing I forgot to add into that is that would require DPW to rip all the existing decking off.
right.
Because that would save a ton of money. So that's why I figured we would do that, rip it all off, and they'd come in and have a frame to work with, and off they go.
Now, you didn't, I'm trying to find a price for total repair, brand new bleachers all the way through.
$1 million.
Yeah.
Probably. Well,
That's the number we have in hand, so let's
correct,
go with
correct.
that.
I think you could do it cheaper if you do it, that was getting to this. And I thought about the bleachers. This is, not to throw more numbers at you. This is a company, it's called Park Warehouse. They have aluminum bleachers, and I'll show you, okay, I guess you each get a packet. This is a little different setup.
Thank you.
Now, there's 2 prices.
Before you
Because
go any
of
further, can we finish the discussion with Ron?
Yeah, I guess,
And then go to me?
Yeah, let's go around the table on option 1
Yes,
first.
please.
Good call, David. Van, go ahead.
yeah, I guess my question is, well, what is the problem right now with ADA? I mean, what's the issue right now with ADA?
It's not so much an ADA,
Safety.
right now it's a pure safety issue.
So what would you have to do to make them ADA compliant?
Those,
Yeah, the current ones, the ones that we have currently.
probably drop $100,000 or more, half of which would be the ramps. Not including completely changing the understructure of
Well,
that.
that's what I was wondering about the understructure, because they're afraid of people falling down.
Yeah, because
through.
if you look where the seats are, there's
Right.
about a space this
Right.
big. Current regulations are, it's only supposed to be 4 inches.
So it's
That's
basically
it.
two different issues. You got the
Right.
safety and then you got the ADA.
Right.
Correct, that's.
So we can make it safety compliant and not have to meet every ADA compliance
Okay.
if we're not changing the structure.
Correct, as
Right.
long as, that's important,
And
as
we're
long as
talking
you're
about
not
the
changing the
structure, talking
structure.
about the braces, the metal.
Correct,
yeah.
as long as
Yeah.
that stays status quo and you're just doing, basically redecking it with, instead of wood, you're going to aluminum, you don't have to go up to 88 standards.
And the aluminum would be the 135 that we're talking about.
Correct, that would be both bleachers.
Okay,
Anything else, Van?
I'm good, thank you.
David?
Is there a process to certify the structural integrity of what's there now?
Yes, in that we had them inspected.
So it's a certified inspection?
Yes.
For the town?
Yes,
All
so the
right,
structure's fine.
So that eliminates that. We have the ability to go to the next step, which would be to replace all the planking.
Correct.
Is there a specific plank or type of planking that's used somewhere else in the state that they've had success with?
Usually it's either pressure treated or
Type of
aluminum, and
wood?
there's usually not much in between.
There's not much, pressure treat is not a good, it's gonna crack over the period of time.
That's why we have caps on the ones we
Right,
have.
yeah, right.
Exactly, so that's, people have, going back as far as I can remember, even go to different venues, pressure treated or aluminum, there's usually.
Has
nothing-
anybody looked at teak?
Now you're talking big bucks.
Yeah.
Teak is very, very expensive.
But as an offset, I wonder what the cost would be of that as opposed to dumping $1 million into the facility.
True. True.
Just a thought.
No, something I hadn't thought of. I just don't know if it has well, it should. It has the structural strength.
I would say so, seeing they use it on battleships of the past.
I know, and I thought about that.
But what he's saying is the current structure sufficient to handle the weight.
The weight of the teak.
Teak
weight of the
is,
teak.
That-
is heavy.
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 That would
It's
be,
very heavy.
that'd be a question to ask.
Correct. Whereas the pressure treated we currently have on that structure has been there for decades.
Well, there you go. Southern Yellow Pine, John, PT is extremely heavy.
Yeah.
So,
You don't wanna keep adding more and more weight.
understood.
You also did,
I'm all set.
Just as a follow-up, with the large crowds that we get over there at a given night, do we have enough bleacher space to accommodate the folks that do attend?
Oh, for the Mariners?
Yeah.
And, no, you could have triple that and you still would fill them up.
Is
every
there-
day.
The berms have helped.
The berms have helped.
Yeah, the berms have helped somewhat.
You know, and I've
Is there
actually,
any room to put additional, bleachers in there
sure, in the outfield.
in the outfield?
Yep, if you're looking from home plate to the right of the scoreboard, to the left of the scoreboard,
Yeah.
left field. I had contemplated last year when the left field building a berm from the wood line down, similar to what they have up in Orleans.
Yeah.
Not a tier, just a stiff hill.
Right.
I just got a little too many things in the oven at the present time to even think about that. But, that brings me to,
Would additional bleachers be a doable project for the outfield?
yeah, I mean, it would help. But before I would personally, put any more, I would change the 1, 2, 3, 4 freestanding ones that are there now.
Fix what we got before we add to.
oh, absolutely.
Because those are probably.
Yeah, that's, I'm saying, fix
Yes.
those, but I mean, is there a need for additional bleachers?
Oh, sure.
beyond?
And in the packet, the second packet I gave you, this price is just for, again, these are just reference prices and prices only for compliant bleachers that are 3-row and 4-row. Some are 15 feet long, some are 24 feet long, or 21 or 24. And it kind of gives you a breakdown without having to get into bleachers that have like the fences around them. You can get these long, that are like 20-something feet long. If you rifle through that packet I gave you, they're in there.
Yep.
What kind of funding you looking for to deal with?
Well, that depends on what you guys want to do. I'm just trying to give you two different ballpark options.
Right.
And then what you guys decide to do is entirely up to you. I'm just gonna bringing it to light. See, this is ballpark, and go from there. I mean, in a perfect world, I'd love to see the aluminum done and just done and never have to worry about it again.
Good.
One and done. It's not cheap, but it's one and done. It's like those small aluminum bleachers we have all over town. Some of those that were here have been here for 25, at least 25, 28
I
years.
just have one follow-up.
Go ahead, Leah.
Are you all set?
Van, you all set?
Good, thanks.
Good. The date on the email is the 11th of February, and it's a 30-day.
Yeah, they always say that, yeah.
For
So,
30 days.
yeah,
So we're kind of well
Well,
into that.
yeah, well, what I would say is, whatever that is, add 25%, just because. The price of metal
Right.
goes up and down literally by the day,
Yes,
particularly aluminum.
Yeah, we
Which
learned
by
that through
standard,
the-
I do 15 at least
Right,
percent
exactly.
in contingencies.
Yeah, you do.
We
And
learned
it's
that
gonna be
through
a
the
lot
fencing.
more than that by the time we get to this project.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, in a perfect world, it would be
Yeah.
nice to be scheduled either after the Mariners start,
That's not
or depending if they could go early in the spring,
many
before the high
people
school
can we
season starts.
accommodate?
Again, this is a perfect world.
Yeah.
Right. Can I just ask one more
Sure,
quick
fire away.
question? Say, I know you're saying this should be on the short list and so on and so forth. Hypothetically, if we put it next year, before next season, how much are we looking to spend this year to just have it up and running for the season? Safety-wise, up and running for the
I
season?
think we're a few $1,000s with
Okay.
wood. I think that's,
Mhm.
I spent almost $1,000 just in hardware to do, basically what I did is all the steps going up.
Mhm.
I basically braced the underside with pieces of angle iron. And between the angle iron and the bolts, that was about $1,000. And I've got a whole slew of wood to replace. That's probably at least 1,000, because they're 20-foot lengths, so they're expensive. So,
Is that coming out of the highway budget?
yeah, Sean's budget, yes.
And that would give, and again, just asking questions.
Sure.
That would get us through this season safely and then into next season for a large purchase.
Oh, and then also, one thing I didn't mention was the steps in the dugouts. All those are, I believe, on the short list to be redecked as well.
Do me a favor, let's finish this first, and
Yeah,
then we'll get into the.
Yeah, I don't mean to
Yeah,
Sure,
go 10 ways to
that was,
Sunday.
Yeah.
that was all, I just
No,
really
no
kinda
problem.
wanted to get those prices.
Van,
out.
you're all set.
Well,
David,
just one other quick.
This,
hold on, Van, hold on.
this photograph,
Yeah,
is this what your intention is?
no, this is our option two, is what I found was that this company makes these, and in order to make it affordable, basically what it is you would take two of those and you just put them together. And it would basically be the same size or close to what's existing.
Basically
So
adding
I
the
guess I'll
floor.
rephrase.
How many people
Will
can
this meet your needs?
Yeah,
So if we put two in place of one unit over there, is that what we're saying? So think about the
Yeah,
numbers
yes,
that are gonna
yeah.
be sitting here.
yes, it would be two of those in a place of one, so it would be four of those in total.
So
It'd be two and two.
130 grand, give or take, just for the material.
Correct.
Plus another 100 plus for site prep and whatnot, you said.
Well, yes, what those don't, and I totally forgot about it until the other day, and the lady never got back to me, was those do not include any ramps. However, because those are
Stairs.
brand new, they have stairs. Because that is brand new, they have to be ADA compliant, which means you have to pour a foundation for those, you have to pour a foundation for the ramps, and then that 135 goes probably closer to 250 to 260
Per.
total.
So, no, wouldn't
Again,
be-
that's ballpark figure.
Have you spoken to the Mariners?
It's not his place to speak to the Mariners. David.
I'm being, never mind.
If I could find them.
That's what the English
Let's just
would
say, if I
say.
could find a mysterious
Cheeky.
donor, well, that would be lovely, but,
Anything else, David?
No, I mean, this,
again, that's option two, where you basically put them side by side. And they come in 20, 21 and 24-foot lengths. You could actually do one, the first base side, you could actually put a little bit longer than the third base, just because of our restrictions on size restrictions.
So you're looking, let's be realistic. That's 130 on that piece of paper, which means it's gonna be closer to 200, probably just for bleachers by the time we come up with the money. Plus the 150, so we're not talking 120. We're talking
Three.
300, 350, because this isn't a project that's gonna happen next spring.
Right.
Because even if it were a CPC allowed project, it wouldn't be voted
You're out for
until
another 2
May,
years,
so
right?
unfortunately,
2 years
you're
out.
out again.
Right, and I don't think, again, I don't know what the local inspectors, I don't think you could just do, if you wanted to do like one side and then another side. I think you would, I don't know how that would go over well with the inspectors, because you'd have one side that was completely compliant, the other side isn't, so how would that work?
You're
I think
talking with those, but we could do
Correct.
one side with option one, correct?
Option one, that price was for the whole enchilada.
The 135 is
Yeah.
correct.
That was
It-
for everything.
That was my question. What do you need from us tonight? What are you looking for this evening?
I'm just looking to show you all what I came across and to hopefully get the ball rolling in the right
So
direction.
you want to get something happening for summer?
No, this summer's probably out of the question.
Okay, so for next year,
Yes,
2024?
correct,
Okay.
This is a start of a discussion.
correct,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I mean,
So you're looking at 2024
Correct.
for some action to take place?
correct. But I wanted to give you at least a ballpark figure where we would stand.
Okay.
Got you. Thank you.
So,
Anything else on the bleachers, David?
Mr. Chairman, where does the school and the Mariners sit in this discussion?
Haven't had a discussion with the Mariners, and you know as well as I do where the school sits. Do I need to say that?
Publicly?
I just said it.
Yes, you did.
Do we need to bring the schools into this as part of a discussion?
Let's get some further numbers, figure out where we want to go before we bring anybody else in. That's my opinion. This was just thrown at us 10 minutes ago. You know, we can't be expected to make a decision right
I
now.
understand. Yeah.
And I would like to have pretty darn close to a full board here before we made the decision too. Anything else on the bleachers? David? Okay, Brian, what's discussion number 2?
Wood chip,
Wood chips.
Brooks Park. The prices that I was able to acquire were anywhere from say two to between $4,000 and $5,000, depending on where I get them and when I can get my hands on them. But it desperately needs to be done. We've been doing it about every 3 years, already?
Yeah.
But every 3 years we
Yep.
redo it. So this is year 3.
Here it is.
I heard today that Brian Barrows has them. Does he have the ones that we're allowed to put down?
I have to find out if they're certified first.
That's what I
They
mean.
have to be certified. I think so. There's also a company in Mashpee that
Oh,
I talked to so many people. I think they're certified, but I'm not 100% sure.
do we typically get them off Cape? Isn't that
Generally, we have them delivered.
certified wood chips?
Yeah, they have to be certified, I know.
Basically, though, this is something that we do on a recurring basis.
Sure.
So,
Every 3
but
years.
to spend that amount, maybe a vote to authorize me to make the purchase through you guys, you know, once we decide exactly which
gotta
one
be
we're
done.
going with.
Yeah, it's
We don't
every
really have
3
a
years.
choice, yeah.
And not to discuss it tonight, but is it ever gonna be worth looking in, and I know at $5,000 it's not, is it ever worth looking into putting the rubber down there and ending this once and for all?
Cushy stuff.
That would be ideal.
Excellent question, yeah.
It'd be
I was-
several $100,000.
It's
Right.
Super expensive. I had a
Yeah,
broker at one
I'm
time.
sure it's ridiculously expensive, but it would help. But regardless of what you put down, nothing is maintenance free. No matter what anybody says, it's not maintenance free.
What do you do to the rubber? Besides blow it off?
I don't know if you have to treat it every so often.
Like
I don't know.
refinish it.
Again, I
okay.
just don't know. I don't
That's
know
a
enough
pipe
about it. I
treatment,
can't
yeah.
give you a,
This $5,000 that you're talking about, $4,000 to $5,000.
it might not be that much
Is that an annual expenditure?
every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
3
So
years.
that's not bad for every 3
No,
years.
it's a couple thousand. Again, you know, a couple of companies that I talked to, they had them at the time. Some had to go quite a ways to go get it. That's why the expenses go up. I'm hoping that Mr. Barrows has certified chips. I have to ask, but I know he has them.
Are you looking for a motion?
Hold on, David's got a.
Are we talking about, well, if it's repetitive every 3 years, that could be considered a capital expense? Or are we doing revolving fund?
We've always done revolving fund.
Pass.
I'm all set.
I'll make a motion that we provide the funds necessary for the purpose of putting down the mulch or the,
Which chips?
at the wood chips at the Brooks Park Playground.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is a vote 4-0. Elaine?
One more thing, regards to Brooks Park, I know they're gonna do the fence project coming up.
Yes,
Did he ever get back to you for,
a start date?
no, gate? For the playground?
No, I
Okay,
sent them the whole list.
perfect. Well,
So-
while it was on my mind and I was thinking about it.
Yeah, you know what, I'll forward it to you too.
Perfect.
Cause I made a list out of what you gave me too. And they said it shouldn't be a problem.
That'd
I haven't
be
heard
fabulous.
numbers
If
yet.
they could put one on the end, that would really help us out.
Yep.
Because we need two machines to do that
I'll
anyway.
double check with them, yeah.
So what I'll do is, what I've done in years past is a week before we do the chips, we put a big sign, big orange sign, say playground closed. We give like a 3 or 4 day window in case weather's not
Yeah.
conducive. And just to give everybody a week's notice. And so far, knock on wood, I haven't had any complaints yet.
Anything else on your list? Or you wanna go home and get some sleep?
I wanted to go home and get some sleep.
How about the
12:30 this morning.
flagpoles? Flagpoles, you said something about flagpoles?
Yeah, flagpole, the one we want to do first is Overlook. I think the next one that was on the hit list is Exchange. I think that was one that was giving us a hard time.
What's the overlook cost? Any figures on
It was
that?
like 3,200-ish,
Yeah.
3,200-ish.
And we built a new, not line item, but a sub-line item for something like flagpoles in our budget for this year, which was tentatively already approved by Joe, town administrator. Still has to go through.
So this is
the
not
rest of the
coming out of
process.
your revolving account?
No, this would be we could use it out of our budget come
Okay.
July 1st, if it all gets approved.
So we need a motion on that?
No, because
No,
there's
it's
nothing,
Yeah,
there's no funding yet or anything.
no,
Okay,
no,
so you wait until after July?
yeah,
Yeah.
Wait
And
until after July?
as I've mentioned, Eric, it's not like one has to be done every year. I think
Right.
Overlook this year, maybe a year or two, maybe do,
it's like the stairs.
yeah, and just kind of chip away at them, even do one every 2 years.
So overlook's your priority for,
Overlook's priority, that one takes the most abuse.
okay.
What are we doing the cell tower?
That's above my pay grade, there, my friend.
The what?
That's been
It's
a
a
rough,
park, the cell tower sits in a park.
yeah, that's
Not a rec
tough.
park.
Well, I don't know if they ever, okay.
Anything else, Brian?
I think that's it. Probably, but
That's all right.
my
We
brain's
hit a lot of the big ones tonight.
my brain's a little scrambled.
Well, go home and get some supper and some sleep.
Yes.
Thanks,
Any
Brian.
other questions before I hit the road?
Thank you for
Thank you,
coming.
Brian.
Thank you, one and all. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you,
evening.
sir.
You too.
Good night.
Mr. Rotten, no, I'm sorry,
Oh,
Jamie. Jamie's hiding down here behind
Good
Eric.
evening, good evening.
Sorry.
I'm Jamie Goodwin, Channel 18 Station Manager. Congratulations on your second meeting being filmed and televised in this room. Your January meeting had, I think, 48 views. And the way that YouTube counts that is unique IP addresses. So I could watch it 10 times, it's still one view on me. So 48 is really good. I also saw that you had some audience participation for that one, so that was excellent as well. I work for the town of Harwich, so we're trying to do more with less, and they are not making any more hearing rooms in this town. So this evening, somebody is meeting in the small hearing room. Youth Services is in there. Someone's in the Griffin Room in planning, and you guys are in here. We are working 3 meetings at one time. In the future, there will be little iPads sitting right here, and you're gonna hit a little button that says start, record, and then you're gonna end the meeting and hit stop record, walk right out. You won't even need me. I don't get to hire any more staff, obviously. So, if we have the option to have a human here, we will be here, Caleb or I, or Matt Hamilton, my videographer. The small hearing room at Town Hall is its own self-service, and that works great. Community Center Facilities meets in here, COA Board meets in here, FinCom meets in here because they can't get their act together to book the Griffin or the Small on time. They know that, they know that.
I won't let them.
They know, I know, Dave's always beating them. At some point, the Board of Selectmen is going to mandate everybody be filmed and recorded. The policy is written, I'm just not pushing it because I can't cover every single meeting, obviously. If I have rooms that are unmanned, it's just, we can't do it with 2.2 people. So I appreciate it. This is what you will look like. This won't be on every time. It's very distracting. I just wanted you to see what it is. It's only this one shot. This room will evolve a little bit because we are gonna be using it more and more. It used to be just for Community Journal.
Can we get a real table?
This table's brand new, so I'm kind of hesitant to.
It's short.
Yeah, well, every committee got bigger. So
Uh,
it's like, it's difficult, but it will evolve. You will press your own button. It's nice that it's open. For facilities and COA board, we were taking full rooms offline, and that was causing huge scheduling conflicts because this building is used constantly. So I appreciate it. People are watching. It's good transparency in government. The selectmen are gonna make it a policy whenever I give them the green light. So it's good that you were already on board before they have to start twisting some arms. So I appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments or
Request, it's bloody bright in here.
I was gonna put $10,000 worth of really bright lighting in here, so I
Could be
nixed
worse.
that. It
Yeah.
could
See
be
ya.
worse.
It could be
Yeah, it
worse.
could be worse.
Is it okay to wear a hat in?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
What a difference that makes. Wow.
Shade.
My eyes are sensitive to it.
And people watch these things. I think
Yeah.
it's important. And then, if Elaine isn't gonna be here, then she can just watch the meeting and take minutes for you. So
if we're here, she's gonna be here.
it's very helpful, and nobody can ever say that Eric said this because I could just roll the
Look at the
footage
tape.
back.
Yeah.
There's more benefits to
Yes,
this
there is.
than there are drawbacks. It's not my favorite thing, hence why I'm always behind a camera and not in front of them. So I'm very sensitive to that topic. But we're Chatham films every single meeting. We're going to be right behind them. I just don't have a lot of humans, and I don't have a lot of space to do it. So this is very helpful.
Okay. Any questions? We're good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
am
Thanks,
also
Jamie.
going to leave, but please note that I can hear you and see you.
Where's that button?
Even after I stop
Get
the
that button going over there.
We are, everything is on intergalactic back order, especially audio and video
Yeah.
equipment, because everybody's doing what we're doing to try to be more accessible to everyone. So
Great.
thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks,
Thank
Jamie.
you.
Don't
Thanks,
put me
Jamie.
on any more agendas.
Nope,
Don't
you
worry.
got
If
it.
on your way up, just close the door and you're all set.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Otten, you are next.
Okay.
I am gonna request that you make it quasi-quick, because we have another guest and a full agenda after you, so.
I'm basically here for input.
Oh.
But, I'll tell you what I'm up to.
I think we have that.
I
You do, you have okay, so you've
Yeah, we
seen
have
that.
it all.
Okay, wonderful.
And John, just so you know, before you start, this is not Kathy Connolly.
No.
Oh,
Here.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
just so you know, so we don't have to, yeah.
I just have a short
I just
addendum
assumed.
to add to it.
Just want to make sure you're.
So, you've read it, it's a citizen's petition to regulate fertilizer. Why? Because 2 years ago, the Board of Health also wanted to regulate fertilizer, and they had to rescind that action because they don't have the authority to regulate fertilizers. Only the Massachusetts Department of Agriculture has that authority. So this is a petition to regulate fertilizers to allow Harwich to make the decisions as what to do with fertilizers. This particular citizens petitions follows Nantucket and Orleans. It will actually say no more fertilizer unless you're a commercial farm, or if you're a homeowner growing fruits and vegetables, you can add organic, okay? Why am I here? Because you guys probably have access to the largest acreage in town, so I need your feedback, your input as to what you think about this effort. My little addendum just says Cape Cod's in trouble. 1/3 of our embayments are endangered. Half our ponds are endangered. We're losing our natural environment. So unless we're gonna end up like the rainforest, cutting it all, the same's gonna happen here. And we're gonna lose the reason why we live in Cape Cod. And that's my impetus to pursue this. So I'm gonna stop talking and wait to hear from you. Ideally, you'd all sign a nice letter saying, yeah, what a great idea, we support it. When the Board of Health also took this to the Board of Selectmen, the Selectmen didn't take any action. there's a large contingency of landscapers there, and they said landscapers rule, that's what we'll go with. So that's as much as I know. So please, let me hear from you, and I want to take notes so that we can move forward somehow twisted on this path.
Okay, thank you. A little bit of background for those who aren't aware, as Mr. Rotten just said, this was before the Board of Selectmen on a couple different occasions. I believe there was a public hearing, they heard public input from, as again, Mr. Rotten said, from numerous landscapers, residents, and the water wastewater superintendent, Dan Pelletier. After hearing all that testimony, they voted not to support it. So just so everybody has that background as well.
Well, quite frankly, I was wondering why you're bringing it to the rec commission, because it's not a recreational issue, is it?
Well, the land you maintain and care for is,
Okay.
all right? And we're, tremendous participation on the land here. So, I need to have.
You're talking about the fields that we use and so on, not fertilizing White House Field and other fields that you're talking about. That's what you're referring to.
And this is a citizen's petition because the selectmen voted not to put it forward on the town warrant.
Okay.
So that's why Mr. Rotten's going this avenue.
Let me make one comment. Dan Pelletier, wastewater commission, superintendent. He didn't support it because he knows that organic fertilizers with sludge, human waste from the sewage treatment plant, is contaminated with PFAS. However, under this specific regulations of USDA National Organic Program, sludge is not permitted in organic fertilizers. So Dan was beyond the scope of what this is speaking of. So Dan objected to it because of PFAS contamination, saying no way is he going to buy into it due to sludge. But the fertilizers specified in this cannot contain sludge. Okay. So that's.
So clearly, if this were to pass, become approved, all the homeowners in town wouldn't be able to use fertilizer on their beautiful lawns.
Correct.
Correct.
I'm gonna go up. Lee, do you have any questions?
I do, actually. What does the, excuse me if it was in the petition and I missed it, to regulate this, say it passes, what is the plan to regulate it? I mean, are we checking every landscaper's pickup truck? Are we going to, really, what is
Coming
the
to my
plan
house
to?
and checking.
Well,
We're talking
that's what
about
I-
enforcement.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
how are we making sure that this is followed, that this is to pass?
So step one is education, getting everyone to understand that the urban lawn as it's known today is not sustainable if we wish to maintain Cape Cod as it is. We need to up the knowledge base of the understanding of what's happening here. Okay? Enforcement, that's to be addressed, okay? They had a ban on irrigation and they enforced it by, citing. So the same thing would happen. So all of the landscapers would need to be educated, perhaps cited, okay? Homeowners need to be educated and perhaps cited. But it's a valid question. But number one is education. Let's bring everybody up to this level of understanding of why we live here and what's happening due to our actions. Okay.
Leah, anything else?
Is it a specific group that's running the petition? Do you have or is it just do you have a name? Do you have a?
Mr. Rotten is the
Right, yes.
petitioner. Oh, is that what you were asking?
Is he part of a group?
Is it part, yeah, are you
Oh.
a committee, are you a
No,
put together?
I'm me.
And I'll let you know that I somewhat support this, just because I'm a big fan of clean drinking water and all the things that go into what we're putting onto the ground. So, but I do have to think, what are the long-term pieces that we're looking at to affect individual citizens?
Yeah.
That I always have an issue with, because we're in America, so.
Yeah, I understand.
That's important, kind of thing to me,
So there's not a group, it's just me. This is my list of contacts and there's 25 I'm reaching out to get the word out. I have another list of people I've from the Cape Cod Commission, from APCC to, it just goes on and on and on, the people I'm trying to contact.
Okay, I mostly was asking, just, I'm wondering, have you, you said it starts with education, have you run any, educational conferences or things for,
Forums.
right, for people to come and join publicly to discuss it, before we
Yes.
agree to support changing a law?
Public views, I think.
Yeah.
Have you received any public views
This is-
in terms of the?
This was turned in on the second Friday of February, so it's still brand new. But the result of the Board of Selectmen meeting, when this came up in front of them, was education. So they formed a committee of Board of Health, wastewater, one other group. Conservation, to develop an educational program about fertilizers.
So what's the purpose of the initiative petition?
Yeah, I guess that would be, because that seems like a
To-
really great start.
What
You
was,
you just laid out a program
Yeah.
of education, yet you're using the dagger of the initiative petition to get to the ends for the means. That doesn't make any sense to me.
it's the same thing that was going on with the Board of Health when they realized the severity of fertilizers, and they issued their own regulations banning fertilizers.
No, that's not what my question is. Why are you taking the position you're taking, using the initiative petition as a hammer, rather than going through the process of education first?
I think they both need to happen because change is very difficult.
That's an interesting statement. I'm done.
Okay. Could you, if I'm not incorrect, petition article is non-binding, correct? It's not something that has to be implemented. Am I?
Yeah, this is only asked, this is a complicated petition because we need to get permission from the state legislature to allow a town to override a state organization to make decisions. So there's this preemption law that says the state rules. To overcome that, you have to ask the state legislature for permission to allow an individual town to make their own decisions on
So
this matter.
it's not binding.
But the town already made their decision? Is that
Board
what
of
I'm?
Selectmen.
They tried,
Okay,
but they had to
they
rescind.
did it, right, yeah, okay.
Okay.
And if you read this first line, it says to see if the town will vote to authorize and ask
Yeah,
Right.
the Board of Selectmen to petition the Great and General Court. So there's no,
it's not binding at all.
Right.
okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, David, anything else?
No, I'm
Leah,
still
anything else?
hung up on
No,
that.
that's it.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Do we have any action taken at this point? or-
I'd like to see if we could table this until there's some further results, some actions taken somewhere down the line by other committees, by the community itself. If we do some forums as a part of the whole educational format that you're talking about, I'd like to hear from the community. Okay, people have invested an awful lot in the curb appeal, and
Yeah,
it's
The
a,
curb appeal
yeah,
is a
it's a tough thing.
dangerous
Of course,
edge.
it may be, in your eyes, it may be, but in somebody else's eyes, it's a wonderful thing that your whole neighborhood is so lush and bright and so on, and, we, in my neighborhood, we take a great deal of pride in our curb appeal, okay?
yeah, right,
So, that would be a hard sell for the folks in my neighborhood.
yes.
To say, we're gonna let the lawns go gray or brown or whatever. It's a difficult sell, and I
It
think
is.
you got a
It is.
vast job in front of you to try to convince a lot of people, so I think your educational proponent is part of it. So let's hold it and see where we
Yeah,
go with it.
Okay.
I agree 100%.
So there's no motion to move forward, so at this time, we'll just table it.
All right.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for coming in.
You know,
How many acres do you guys actually have authority over?
I don't know
A million.
the total, a lot. I can get you the number though, I can
Yeah,
get, it's
I'm just
a,
curious.
it's a lot.
I was gonna say a
lot.
quarter, but he wasn't asking about my own house.
I mean, if you look at all of the vacant land that we have that's unused,
All
sitting
fields,
there,
parks,
ball
memorial
fields,
swings.
parks, water.
Yeah.
We've got an awful
Cell
lot
phone
under our
towers.
jurisdiction, so yeah, it's a big job.
Eric can get that number.
Yeah, I
for
can
you.
get the acres
And
number.
I'd be
DPW
interested
takes
too,
care of all that for you, the mowing.
Next
They, they maintain it, yeah.
I'd like to know what we have, Eric.
Thank you for coming in.
No, I
Where's the
appreciate-
dog? Oh, I was gonna say, where's the
Yeah.
dog?
Yeah, yep, sorry.
Appreciate you
You didn't wink at me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Jurisdiction.
Short.
Yes, thank you.
Are you, I'm sorry, are you here to speak, or are you just observing?
No, I'm just observing.
Okay,
I wanted to meet everyone.
don't want to ignore you.
No,
What is your name, please?
Bianca Caswell.
Bianca Caswell.
Yes, I'm a Harwich resident and a parent. And yeah, I'm
Good to have you with us.
taken a lot of interest in the recreation department and the board in the past 10 days.
Is it just a general, or do you have a concern that you'd like to bring up, or?
I had an incident at an open gym with my children, and that has led to a lot of questions that I've had about the recreation program. I've been working with Jenny over at the library to kind of pull some numbers. I've been talking to the rec directors in Brewster, Chatham, Dennis.
Have you talked to Eric?
We're
I have a
meeting on Friday.
Yeah, we have a meeting on Friday.
What I would like to do with your your okay and the okay of the board is to get you, would you mind coming in, or would you like to come in for the March agenda?
Yes, of
And-
course.
It's not on the agenda, so we can't get into a big, long discussion about it,
Yes.
or have any discussion about it. But if you're willing to do that, Eric can get, or
Get it on
Elaine
the
can
agenda.
get you.
Yeah.
This was
Okay.
kind of just to see how
Right.
everything operates. I'd love to meet everyone,
Okay.
introduce myself, and then, yes, I've spoken with Elaine as
Okay.
well as speaking next month.
Okay. And
Good.
you've already spoken to Eric as well about this situation, correct?
Yes, I met with Sue and Phyllis about it.
Yeah,
we have a
and we're meeting Friday.
Oh, that's right, you were off, yep, okay. All right, just making sure you're not being ignored over
No,
there.
no.
All right, the next, we're still going with Kathy Connolly, Eric?
Yeah.
She's not in attendance?
Basically, it's a woman, she's 75 years old. She'd like to keep her kayak. She wrote Sandy Pond, she meant Sand Pond, in Harwich. She'd like to keep her kayak there during the summer, so she doesn't have to lug it back and forth. I did reach out to her again. I haven't gotten a reply yet. My concern with this would be making it known that we're not liable if it gets
Right, the same-
vandalized, stolen.
The safety issues.
We can't guarantee, it's just if you open Pandora's box, then, and if one person keeps their kayak there, then
That's
other
the
people are gonna wanna
point,
keep
yeah.
them there. So that's kind of the issue.
I personally don't think it's a bad, David, you're probably there more than I am. I see you.
It's already happening, John.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a
let
whole
me-
list
let
of,
me-
go ahead, you've got,
Long Pond and Brewster, they have a kayak wreck. Are those rentals, or are those, resident locked up? You know what I'm talking
I
about?
believe those are
Right.
resident
the
locked up,
backside.
yeah. I think they're, I'll double check, but I think they're resident locked up.
All right, I'm just asking.
They're not rentals, yeah.
Could we
They're
look,
not rentals?
I don't think those are rentals. We've looked in, so we used to do rentals at Cahoon's. And that was okay, we have to have a staff member there. That's been the issue. Since COVID, we haven't brought it back yet, staff-wise, getting another person down there.
Staff
Go-
member on top of lifeguards, there's no gate guard at Cahoon.
There's no gate guard, so we don't want the
can't
lifeguards
take
to
the
leave
lifeguard
the
away and
stand.
fill up paperwork.
Yeah, so it'd be another staff member,
Does the rental income justify the staff member?
Yes, yep, we can definitely do that. The issue, also, the other issue was we brought them back and forth every day.
That's right.
So
We're
that
getting
took
off
up,
topic in regards to that one.
that took up a van,
Yep.
As
Yeah,
well.
I remember that.
so.
Leah, any questions on this request?
so I agree that if one person stores it, everybody's gonna want to, and that's not gonna be okay. Could we do this like a rack, like a rental space? So you can rent a space for the week if it's available, or the summer, or you're on your own. If it's, they'll have to sign a waiver that says it's stolen, if it's damaged, we're not liable.
Lock it up.
Yeah, lock it up,
Yeah.
but if something happens, we're not liable, but rent this space for,
And let me check with Brewster
Whatever
too,
the
because that
price
may
is.
be what they do there.
yeah.
There was an ad on Facebook the other day. See, I'm not as old as I. And there was a gentleman in Mashpee that builds kayak racks. He'll build a single one.
A lockable
two,
one?
four, nope.
Oh.
It's just a wooden rack.
Okay,
And you easily put a
Right,
lock
a
on it.
lock
it's up
on
to
it,
them
okay,
to
But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they seem to be well built, and that's just me. Cause
Yeah.
I knew we
one of
had
those
this
in
letter.
Harwich,
Yeah,
and you know the
give them a
lady-
little, permit that hooks on
Yeah.
it, and that's it, whatever we wanna,
Yep.
we can come up with a price closer to season or
Yeah,
whatnot, if
sure.
there's, but I feel like that's a little income
Yeah.
that there's obviously a need.
and you wouldn't need a staff member for that either.
No,
No,
So
they would
you
have
just
to
have
come
it
here and
there.
get it the same way they
Yeah.
get a beach pass,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they'd get a number, and that's it.
I'll find
Anything
out.
else, Leah?
No, that's
I
it.
was just gonna suggest that the person that comes to our, from the finance committee, she's got one in the backyard. And it's a wooden, it's a wooden structure, and they put the 2 kayaks on it, and it's just out back.
Yeah, they're built out
Yeah.
of 4x4s
Yes.
and with a
Simple.
A-brace under,
Yeah,
yeah.
simple.
Very simple.
David,
Where are our kayaks?
In the basement.
doing,
Where is the mobile unit that carry them?
We haven't used that or had
Down
that
The
for
old
Where
fire
is it?
station, was it?
15 years. I think it's still behind the old fire station.
no, it's not.
Oh,
There's nothing behind the old fire station
then they
now
must have
that
got rid of it. We haven't, I think that we used that the first summer I was ever here and never since then.
Okay.
The way we transported them, we had to take the seats out of one of the
In the
vans
vans,
and put them in. But then that
Kayaks are not
limited
usable.
our ability to do a lot of like field trips. We like to leave the seats in for the field trips for the camp.
Have we taken into consideration the enforcement at Sand Pond
Of
compared to what's there right now?
enforcement of what, David?
all the kayaks.
Kayaks, sailboats, sail fins.
Harbor master enforces that kind of stuff. So when we get reports of that, we call the harbor master, and what they do, I believe they can issue fines. I can't write tickets for that.
They do it at the spit in Bucks Pond, between Bucks Pond Road and Pleasant Park Circle. I saw them there one day removing them. Some of these have been there longer than I've been in this
Yeah,
town.
they'll go every once in a
I mean,
while.
they
and
had
grab
trees
them.
growing out of them. But anyhow, I have seen the harbor
Yeah,
master
go grab them.
to do that, but those had been there quite a while. But I think it's a great idea if we could come up with a reasonable
Rental
solution.
rack, yeah, yep,
And that way we're not transporting them.
Yeah.
yep.
And I mean, we can offer weekly or, summerly,
Yeah.
resident.
At least-
Wrap
They
around
had one
with
at
a bungee
Secret, they
cord.
had one at Bucks Pond, I'd put my kayak over there
Absolutely.
and use that as my
Yeah.
storage
Yeah.
area.
And just have them sign something that say we're not liable for any damages. Well, the standard language.
And I
Yep.
think that would make it easier to enforce ones that aren't on the, it's like.
Yeah, if they're
if
not
it's
locked up.
They're not on the rack,
Yeah.
then they don't have the permit, then they shouldn't be here.
Yep,
Would that be year round?
Say at least until, you're asking the wrong.
Yeah.
Summer
guy.
season.
I almost went a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, right, I know.
But that, David?
I mean, I guess it could be. I don't know who wants to leave the
Why don't we
kayak
ask the
out.
director to
Yeah.
put a plan together and come
Sure.
back for the March meeting?
That works.
Got it.
And it doesn't have to be crazy, we don't have to overthink this.
Yep.
It should be as simple as can be.
Got it.
So wait, I'm sorry, did we answer the woman, the 75-year-old woman, what she could do with a kayak?
Oh.
You're gonna let her, you can just reach out to her this week?
I'll let her know,
We're
it's
working
a
on it.
no for just leaving it on the beach.
Right, okay.
But we're working on a
We're
plan.
working on
Yeah.
it, right,
Yeah,
right.
so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I wanna make sure we answered the original
Yeah,
piece of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, because we kind of,
Yeah.
all right, next is director's report.
All right. Couple updates. As you can see, CPC voted yes for all 3 of our requests a couple weeks ago. So that's good. We're waiting on May town meeting now. Spring program brochure just came out. We have our after-school program, which is pretty much already full every day, every weekday. We're going to have our pre-farm league T-ball clinic that runs in the early spring in the gym. And then we moved that into the farm league, which is outside Tuesdays and Thursdays with little teams, and they play in-house games. We're going to have travel league softball through the Lower Cape Rec League. We're going to have a basketball clinic. We're also going to do youth spring flag football. So that's on the original slate of programming for the spring, for youth. Just trying to see if there's anything else I want to highlight. We started a Saturday pickleball program. There was a request for Saturday mornings for the people that can't make it weekdays over at the 204 Sisson. So we just started it this past Saturday. It's from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and it's designed for, like I said, people that can't make it during the
Worker
week.
bees.
Yep. So far,
How
so
was
good.
it Saturday?
Good. I think we're up to, there were like 10 to 12 people there, but I think it'll get more and more.
Is there a limit, Eric? Can you accommodate, what can you accommodate? on that?
They don't want to go over, it all depends on what time people show up. They don't come for the full 4 hours, but I think around 50 would be the most we would take for something like that.
For the day, that's an all day?
8 a.m. to 12. Yep. So,
Well, 50 people.
I think that's great, and I love the group that it's focusing on.
Yeah, the people that can't be there,
Can't
yep.
get there during the week.
And that's the only ones I really had to highlight, and obviously if there's any questions.
Any questions?
Yep.
Sure.
Go
Here's
ahead,
the
Lee.
part Eric loves.
That's fine.
What is the age range for summer, for spring activities available?
Well,
Like the
the
youngest to the oldest that
the
all
pre,
of them cover?
yeah, the pre, I'd say kindergarten through hoops with new basketball goes through like high school age.
Mhm, okay.
So, but
Is there any interest from the rec department for preschool age activities, spring, like T-ball? I know that they're out
well,
there.
yeah, preschool T-ball. We do K1 2 T-ball.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes to us in the past and they have a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old, we'll let them
Okay.
give it a try and see,
Yep.
But we don't get a ton of requests for that. Usually we may get a handful of kids
Okay.
for that.
I just asked because I coached last year and I've signed up this year for a separate department that does it, and they're full.
For
For
preschool T-ball?
for
Okay.
3 and 4 T-ball, as well as some, I know.
That's gotta be,
Listen.
I remember.
Yeah,
those
it's not
days.
really
Everybody
T-ball.
chasing the ball.
Yeah, it's
well,
more
no,
of-
it really is they have the tee and they set it up and it's
Yeah.
hilarious, but
Yeah.
I do really believe that there's a need for it.
Okay.
And I think that, that we have a lot more families here now, so
Sure.
kind of expanding into that younger age.
Yep.
And I think it will only help us down the line if they're in these early programs, we're getting them the year after and the year after and the year
Yep.
after.
Yep.
You'll get a lot more parent volunteers because they're not tired from being
A good
parents yet.
feeder system.
Yeah.
So they're ready to
We do.
jump
I mean,
in
there's
and
the
jump in.
preschool play group here.
Right,
that
exactly.
meets,
Yep,
yeah.
nope, I
Yep.
love that, that's perfect. So maybe just an idea
Yep.
about, just thinking about expanding on
Okay.
that. One more question for you.
Sure.
Where are we as far as online signups for things?
We built the money in the budget for this year.
Okay,
So me and Elaine actually scouted out a couple different companies.
Mhm.
We're actually meeting with one, is it tomorrow morning? Thursday morning,
okay,
another one. So
Awesome.
we're looking into different ones, and we built in $5,000 in the budget,
okay.
for like an annual fee. Some of these are annual fees, so
Okay.
it's
So
in
do
the
you
works.
think by the March meeting, we'll have a better idea of what company you're going with or when it can get started?
Well, I mean, we wouldn't be able to pay for it until we
Until-
get the money,
Right,
which would be
exactly.
July 1st.
Okay.
But
More
we,
information.
we'll have more information on another company come Thursday morning.
Okay,
So, yep.
perfect.
So probably realistically, mid-summer programs and then going full steam in the fall?
That would be
Or
the
maybe
hope,
not
yeah.
even mid-summer, maybe just say
Just
September
fall, yeah.
1.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll just,
okay.
launch it and have like a launch date.
And you
for
have
it.
your meeting
Perfect.
with the selectmen when?
Oh, the
whole
budget
big
meeting,
powwow?
Saturday.
Saturday.
So if
So
anybody wants to come watch a thrilling meeting, Saturday, that's right. They haven't given us the time yet of when everybody's doing theirs, but
Back to
Wait, let's
Leah's question, so to try that, what would you do? Would you just put up a sign up and see if you have enough people
for,
for the pre?
like if we did like a preschool T-ball,
We might have missed the mark, only just
Oh, is it
because
too late?
other, well, no, I mean, you could do
No,
it.
yeah.
You definitely could. I'm just saying our numbers might be a bit skewed since other ones have already kind of been full.
where are these preschool T-balls?
Brewster has one, and
Okay.
DY has one,
Okay.
and is it Orleans? Maybe not Orleans, Eastham
Yeah,
has one, because we
okay.
do Brewster, and we've done it
Through school or through rec?
rec,
Okay.
and we've done it 2 years in a row, and.
What we
yeah.
normally do is like an interest sheet.
Yeah.
So we
That's
start
what
with
I
like a
was
flyer and an interest sheet. If we
Perfect.
get a certain amount to make it make sense,
Yeah.
financially to hire somebody and, have somebody work.
And you put a little caveat at the bottom, if there's not enough participants.
Yeah,
we won't
yeah,
run the
yeah.
program.
Especially for a new program, we'll take like registrations, but we'll withhold. We won't take payments yet
Mhm.
until we know for
Perfect.
sure that it's going to run. So
So,
yeah,
and
we can
you'll-
give it a
and
shot.
you take parent volunteer
Oh, absolutely.
coaches, obviously, yeah.
We rely on it.
Yeah, no, exactly,
Yep.
yeah, so,
Yep.
that was, I mean, that's really the only thing, those 2 things, that was it.
Okay. Pam?
I'm good.
David's got his finger up.
Sorry.
Eric,
No, that's okay.
Every-
how does the accounting of that work?
Of what?
The tracking of the monies?
What monies? Like
So you're
program
drawing-
monies?
You're putting it, you're going out, you're gonna exercise a contract with a company that's gonna provide you documentation of how they're.
Oh, you're talking about the
set it
online
up.
registration?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about T-ball too.
No.
Um,
I've been around long enough to know that.
so, I mean, you probably know better
Can
than I do. or
can
whatever,
we discuss this at the March meeting when we're discussing who the company may be, David?
but part of the company that you hire, part of their program is to track your monies
Right,
and give you reports whenever you want.
it's like a webmaster.
You know, you're paying an annual fee. There's
Okay.
usually like a startup fee and then an annual fee.
Okay.
And part of that, you know, different companies offer different services, but I think most of them would offer accounting of what you put in, what, you know.
And you'll know more about that in March.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Fair enough.
Good question. I have no idea, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure you do at this point.
No, I don't.
Okay. Anything else on the director's report? Hearing none. Property maintenance.
Property maintenance, there's nothing to highlight, but I'd be happy to add, subtract, answer any questions you might have.
Leah? Van?
I know that they're working on Potter Field, putting up the fence caps.
Oh, yeah, I should add that in. Yep, Potter
You should add that in there.
fence cap.
Potter
Got it.
Field, they're working on it gradually, little by little, when they get some time, I know they're out there doing that, with the fence caps.
Yep.
David?
All set?
Eric, could you say that there's money in the budget, or they're putting money in the budget for flagpoles now? Is that?
Yes,
Is that staying here, or is it going elsewhere? In our budget?
in our budget, yes, yep.
Budget report?
Budget report, the revolving fund is at 78,178. That, you know, goes up and down. We're gonna probably spend some money on the wood chips soon, so that'll come out. But that's where
Also,
we're
the
sitting.
fence repairs, you probably spent some money.
Yeah, depending on what that comes back at. So we have a healthy balance, but there are things coming down the road.
Leah?
I guess one question.
Sure.
Are our summer numbers looking good for camp? I'm assuming they're,
Staff or
signups.
sign up, we don't, so what we do is we take signups for summer camp for the month of May is
Okay.
residents. Residents only, and then whatever's left over for space,
Okay.
which usually isn't a ton.
No.
That's, you know, that's when people could come in.
Okay, perfect.
We've tried starting it earlier in the past, and it just doesn't work that early.
You're not thinking summer camp in April, maybe? Is that what the logic is?
We're all signed up. We're done.
Yeah.
Because they also get older, so they do a lot of big camps, but yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
But we'll be full. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
we
sure.
fill it
I
every
just didn't know
year.
if you had an idea already, but no, that's great.
Ben?
I'm good, thank you.
David?
All set?
Okay. Chairman's report, I have nothing to report. Elaine and Eric are doing a great job getting all this stuff in here. CPC, David?
Nothing to report. Eric already reported it.
Okay. Van?
Nothing to report right now.
Okay. Consent agenda.
So this
Eric,
is, yeah,
overview, please.
we spoke about it last meeting to have a consent agenda added to our agenda, but we found out we need a positive vote to have a consent agenda added to the agenda.
Got a vote to approve the vote.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Correct?
Okay, can
Am
I have
right? Yeah, okay.
May I have a motion,
Motion.
please?
Second.
There's a way to vote.
Oh, okay.
There's gonna be,
How do we, what do we do?
it's gonna be a voice call.
Oh, one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the motion is on the floor. It's been seconded.
So what did you say? They have a specific way that they.
Oh, they want the motion worded?
Where is that, Elaine?
I don't think it's in there.
Agenda handout,
I have that in front of me.
okay, down the bottom.
Highlighted in green?
Yes, I highlighted yours anyway.
How does I use it?
Mine's not highlighted.
Adopt a rule of order along for the simple rule is. So Elaine, excuse the,
That's okay.
what do you want the motion to, that whole paragraph on the second page?
Yes, I didn't get any response back from administration, so I think that's the best way to go.
The
Somebody
part-
could just read
the part
that
that says
paragraph.
how to
Say it now
The part that says how to start using a consent agenda, is that what you're talking about?
Elaine, so I'm gonna read
Go
into
ahead, read.
record this paragraph on the second
That's gonna
page.
be the rule, and you're gonna adopt the consent.
A consent agenda may be presented by the president at the beginning of a meeting. Items may be removed from the consent agenda on the request of any one member. Items not removed may be adopted by general consent without debate. Removed items may be taken up either immediately after the consent agenda or placed later on the agenda at the discretion of the assembly. It is important to make sure that all directors know what items belong on the agenda and how to move items to and from the consent agenda. For this reason, instructions on using the consent agenda should be part of the board orientation program.
That's my motion.
Do we have a second?
Second?
David Nixon and Leah for motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
What does all that mean?
Ask Elaine.
Elaine, what does all that mean, Elaine? What we just voted on?
Items that you don't normally need to have a discussion on, you can lump them together and put them in a consent agenda.
Selectmen do it at every meeting.
Yeah.
And there's 10 or 15, 20 items on there.
So one of the items would be minutes.
So in other words, they don't have to be on the regular agenda that is prepared
They'd be listed under consent agenda.
as part of the agenda?
Yes.
Part of
Right.
the agenda, it would
Okay.
list every item,
Okay,
and the rule that he just read, we would
Okay.
take some out, put some in.
okay.
You can have a consent agenda, but there are items that are not normally up for, or that involve discussion.
In other
So you
words,
could
it's
vote
not
on the
part of
whole
the
bunch.
old business, new business, part of the.
No.
No,
It's a
separate.
separate item on the agenda sheet itself.
Yeah.
Anything that would
They'll
need
be listed.
discussion wouldn't be in
I
there.
got you.
Yeah.
And you can say, I want to remove C, item C.
Who
Or
can say
hold
that?
item
Anybody
C.
on the commission?
Okay, and we have to vote on that, whether to move it or
No, it
not?
doesn't need a vote.
No, the
to
chair has
remove.
the ability to hold
Yeah.
an item.
All right,
Okay?
Yep.
So nothing's going by, it's just being consolidated.
okay, I got you.
So we just need a vote on what John to approve.
We have a motion and a
Yeah,
second.
okay.
Voice call?
Yep.
Voice vote?
Leah,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Yeah,
David,
Aye.
John, Mahan, aye. Okay?
All right.
Done deal.
And recreation program scholarship funding, Eric, give us a
Yep.
quick overview.
So
on
yeah,
this.
it's actually A and B. We're gonna be, it's kind of just bringing up the topic to you guys to let you know what we're thinking. So for A, recreation program scholarship funding, we've never had a strict written policy on scholarships. We do issue scholarships for people to help, whether they can pay half, there's families that can't pay at all. And, we kind of try to make it a policy not to turn anyone away. We want to have something more concrete, written.
Why?
Why?
That was always left to the discretion of
yeah,
the
right.
department.
It used to be a
But
discretionary.
I think there should be some guidelines to follow, for who should get scholarships, who shouldn't get scholarships, and where the money's coming from to track it better.
How do you?
There's really no way to
Hold
track
on, let him
scholarship.
finish, please.
There's really no way to track scholarship funding as of right now. What we're thinking is that we could take a percentage, this is just an idea, say field use fees, which also goes into revolving fund. We take, say, 10% of those to go into a subcategory of the revolving fund for scholarships. So that's what we were thinking.
Just so we're clear, this is a throwing it on the table tonight, just so everybody has a chance to think about it. We're gonna bring it back in March
We'll put something
for
on
a more
paper, yeah.
in-depth discussion.
So this is what makes the director comfortable, doing
Yes.
it in this manner.
Yep. A lot of other towns do have scholarship policies on paper, and it would make me more comfortable to be able to track exactly what we're giving out. This is in no way to limit scholarships. If anything, hopefully it'll
yeah.
be more available.
So it's
you know.
it's
Yep.
a discretionary thing right now that you're
Yep.
doing. How do you currently determine who should get a scholarship and for what amount?
Yep,
Based on what factors are you using? right
that's
now?
exactly what we want to,
So you don't
Set.
have a factor, you don't have a sense as to whether or not this
it's
young
very
person.
informal now,
Yeah,
yeah.
this young person should get 50% of the
Yep.
cost or 100% of it.
Yep.
So it's all your discretionary, you're
Yeah.
the guy that's doing it.
And I'd like to check in with other towns as to how they determine scholarships. Does somebody
Again.
pay half, if, you know.
Is it based on being in the lunch
Income or-
program?
yep.
Is it based on the parents' income?
Yep,
You know,
and that's all the stuff I wanna
I've
look
dealt with
into.
So
scholarships.
that's a whole different.
And I know that you have to look at their income, both as a single parent, as a
Yeah, sure.
two-family home. You have to look at their financial income,
Yep.
you know, what they got.
But this is, this is more
We're
for,
going way beyond.
Well, that's,
Hold on, this is a initial,
that's some of the
discussion.
things that you look at, David, in terms of determining whether or not there is justification in giving little Johnny 100% versus 50%. You know, there's a formula.
well, the main goal of this, though, it's not so
There are a lot of
much,
factors involved in putting together the amount of money you distribute to a person
Yep.
or a household.
this isn't so much to determine who would deserve it or who, not deserve it, but who would qualify for it or who wouldn't qualify for it. It's more to have money set aside just for scholarships within the revolving fund. That's what we're looking to do.
That's a little
That's,
bit.
yeah, but that's a little different than what I understand a scholarship to be. You're looking at, as I understand it, I'm trying to clarify this. You're looking at a program,
Yeah,
okay, some program that pays you X number of dollars for that kids to participate.
yes,
You want to take a portion of that lump gross amount of money and put it into the scholarship fund. So if you have 20 programs that you run
Yep.
annually, you want to take a portion of those, of the gross amount and
yeah,
put it into
percentage
this,
maybe,
yeah,
yeah.
into a scholarship fund.
It wouldn't be it would be a subcategory of the revolving fund, which we kind of have now. There's spring programs,
separate, yeah.
summer
Yeah,
programs,
but again,
fall,
a
you know.
summer program, let's say you gross out $100,000.
Yep, yep.
Okay. You want to take a certain percentage of that 100,000 and put it into the scholarship fund.
Yep, that would be
So you
dedicated for
could,
scholarship.
so you could build that scholarship up if you use all the programs you have, Eric, to a reasonably lucrative amount of money or.
Well, we would
available
determine
for you.
around what we would need. We wouldn't, keep putting money in this
Yeah.
until it's like
How
huge.
many
The
kids
goal
are-
would be to use it.
How many kids currently are in the scholarship program?
Well, there is no
I
scholarship
mean,
program.
how many kids do you provide a
assist last
scholarship?
year.
I'd have to look at I'm still trying to figure out the numbers with that, but that's part of the problem is we don't have a way of tracking it exactly because we don't have anything on paper.
Well, would you rather not be so limited in terms of your ability to be more discretionary in terms?
I don't think this would limit it though.
No, I'm saying, as the director, wouldn't you like to have the authority, the responsibility of determining what youngster or what family should be, rather than having,
And we still would.
yeah.
He
rather-
does that now.
Yeah,
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 we still
I
would.
realize that, but rather than having it so formalized is what I'm saying.
The only thing that would be formalized is that money would be set aside for it. We don't necessarily have to formalize the process to get a scholarship.
David?
Here's the problem I have with that, the formalization of it. I don't disagree with you. I get it. On a different level, I get it. But you're asking, first of all, you're gonna say to someone, well, we wanna see a tax
No.
return.
David, I
not
think
listening to
he
us.
did say it, but you misunderstood. I think you're thinking he's going on a deep dive,
I'm not doing that.
and he's
yeah.
not.
We're not going to that
Okay,
road.
all right,
It would still be up to our discretion who we give the scholarships to.
okay.
Yes,
This
we
would just
pretty
put money
much know
aside
who needs it.
for it.
I don't have a problem with that.
And it- like I
You've
said-
done it all along, so.
Yeah, like I said, it wouldn't limit at all. It's not like we do this and all of a sudden, 10% of the people we gave scholarships to aren't going to get them now because, it's not going to limit anything.
So with the commission's approval, we'll bring this back in March? and
Yeah, it's
maybe
not.
Formalize
I'll write
something.
something up, and if not, it's just an
Yeah,
idea.
the reason why I was asking so many questions, Eric, is because I've had so many experiences with scholarships
Yeah.
and with dealing with kids and so on, is that there are a lot of factors involved. I know
Sure.
that with schools, particularly with elementary
Yeah,
schools,
yeah.
or high schools, there are a lot of concerns, and a lot of youngsters and families have major concerns
Yeah.
about.
Well, my goal is to make
how
it
be
even
able
more
to-
accessible,
yeah,
not
yeah.
less.
And we're also
So, yeah.
not talking enormous amounts of
Right.
money.
No, no, no.
Thankfully.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Can I ask one
Yes, go right ahead.
brief question, and
Sure.
you can even kind of just push this into, do we offer some, for the after-school program, are there like scholarships available for that?
Oh, yeah.
or-
Yep.
So we do?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah.
And where, is it that kind of the same funding that you use?
It's-
So would it all be formalized across the board, both that?
Yeah,
and
those
just-
would, any
is this
revolving
just for
fund
summer?
programs.
Okay.
Oh, this would be any, year round.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
okay.
Yep, not
perfect.
just summer,
Yep.
yep.
All right, awesome. That was my only question.
In,
I don't wanna, I'm sorry, I don't wanna hit this too hard, but you're gonna formalize it. And how are you gonna, I'm sorry, I'm a dinosaur, I'm happy having it in your hands with your staff.
Yep,
Once we get into formalizing.
I think formalize is
It's
the
good.
incorrect word.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
I think
that's,
you're
I'm not,
getting-
I didn't use it, that's on
Well,
the table.
you can rescind the formalized
Yeah,
word. I
I
think
rec-
we're getting caught up on the
I
formalized, we
formally
don't need to.
rescind the
Yeah,
formal.
Thank you,
That's why this is an initial discussion.
thank you.
The formalized word might not be on the table in March.
I'll leave that out of the.
I think basically, from what I understand, you're simply looking for another pool of money from other programs.
Just put
that you
some
can-
aside just
you
for
can
that.
Put into
Yep.
a separate account so that you have funds available to be able to handle these
Yep.
families, these kids that
Yep.
need some additional resources for them to enter a program
Yep.
or to support a program.
And it'd be an easier way to
Yeah.
track what we're giving
You
out.
know, just an aside, we do that with the senior softball. We give scholarships to
Sure,
guys
yeah,
that can't afford. We have a lot of guys that can't afford that, you know,
Yeah.
the $150 a year that they
Sure.
pay to play softball. We give them we give
Yeah.
them a consideration. I know that they do that, so.
yep,
But
absolutely.
it's been up to the discretion of the commissioner and the board.
Yep.
So, in this case, it would be the you and the committee.
Mhm.
I have no problem with that.
Should we
Okay.
go to the next one?
Yes, please.
So the next one is just, I think it's a little easier. It's a fee policy review. It's, we haven't reviewed our fees as far as our, facility use form.
And let me just, this is again, throwing it on the table for discussion, for further discussion in March. Just gives everybody a chance to think it over.
Yeah, so our.
You're talking about this one here, Eric? This
Yes,
here?
yep, that and our, the form where you fill out to reserve fields,
Yeah.
parks, beaches, weddings, cook fires, all those fees. We're gonna review that. It hasn't been changed or reviewed since 2016. So we're gonna come up with a draft for March for that as well. It's not so much looking to raise fees, it's just some of them are inconsistent and confusing the way they're laid out. So we kind of just want to revamp the whole sheet, make it as simple as we can, and bring it to you guys.
Well,
And
that's
then-
insulting, I mean, we did it.
Well, no, you know what though? It's been added to and
But
amended
we're
so
older
many
and
times.
wiser now, and we have new members.
It started simple, but it's been amended
Yeah,
so many
right.
times that it's like some of the stuff contradicts other things, and so we
We
just
used
want
to
to.
not record these meetings, and look at us now.
There we go.
Eric, did you ever show this, this fee structure to, is Brian aware of this?
Brian Albee?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did he have any concerns about some of the figures that?
No, they've never had concerns, highway in general, about the fees themselves. It's just the only concern they'd ever shown is they're
Usage.
concerned about overuse of White House Field.
Usage.
But that's the only concern we get.
We were gonna discuss that.
Yeah, but they don't say you should charge more
Yeah,
necessarily.
that's okay, yeah.
It's more they just don't want as many people using. Like they don't want overuse.
Right.
But this, like I said, is just to do this, and if we bring you a draft and you guys say it looks okay, we have to go to the selectmen too.
Okay.
So.
Anything on that? Hearing nothing. Approval of commission meeting minutes for January 3rd.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those, any discussion? All those in favor? It is a unanimous vote, Elaine. January 24th,
So move.
we don't have a quorum. I wasn't here.
That's right.
So we'll have to
I
hold
took a
those.
slice, yeah.
Yeah, David was chair. 24-minute meeting, God bless you.
Yeah, that was a record. You set a record there.
I think we gotta get him over to here more often.
John,
Let's see.
John, quick question.
Yes.
Are we locked into a Tuesday night for these meetings? Is this something, I'm only thinking about Mike, because he is so involved with his work on Tuesday nights. If we could change the meeting so that Mike Haley.
We brought it up. It was on an agenda a couple months ago, I remember, and after some discussion, we landed to stay. And that was, Mike was here for that.
I'll have a
too.
discussion with him. He
Yeah.
had said, he had asked me about that at one point, then he took it off the table and said, don't worry, because the selectmen changed their meeting night.
Okay.
So I don't
Yeah.
know
I
why,
was just thinking
but I
about-
will check with him. But no, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think whatever came up for him tonight didn't have anything to do with the
Okay.
selectmen.
So it was
meeting.
it was
It
a
was a
personal
separate
thing or a
personal
life
thing,
thing.
yeah.
Or he could have at any time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
yep.
So that is that.
Motion.
You need-
Motion
That's what
to
he's looking
adjourn.
for, yeah.
Anybody want anything on the agenda for next?
Well, we got, so far, we have, the fee policy, the scholarship policy, we have,
The bleachers, right? That moved how much? Is it?
let me
Yep.
just see, kayak, a plan for the kayak racks, the bleachers, and I'm sure there'll be more before then.
Well, let's not put much more.
No,
We
yeah,
have a
we'll
lot of, we have a lot
overload,
of
yep, okay.
discussions there. Okay?
You probably should agenda this, so, there should be a discussion of CPC revenue.
Do you wanna do that in your liaison report?
Right.
So you could just do it under that, right?
Well, I'd rather have that agenda,
So what do you want it to be, CPC,
discussion of CPC funding report.
CPC funding report? Okay,
And unless there's something, anything further on that agenda, let me know, please.
okay. Try to
Because
keep it.
like I said,
Well, I
It's
don't know
starting to
why
pile
I'm
up,
asking
yeah.
him, I should ask you. You're the
doesn't
chairman.
matter,
Jeez.
because he's got the magic notebook.
Yeah, the magic number.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank